2.
Well, that was fun, and I only say that because the Saints won 26-23 in overtime over the Chicago Bears. I would not be saying that. I might not even be here if the Saints had fell to the Bears today, because that game sent my anxiety out of the roof. Hi, everyone. Welcome into the New Orleans Saints postgame show presented by Mercedes-Benz. Let's bring in our analysts at Soldier Field, John DeShazier. JD, can you break down what happened to us the last few minutes of regulation and then in overtime?
Sean Payton says the Saints do what they need to do to win the game on that day, and that's exactly what they did. Unfortunately, they gave up a late field goal to Cairo Santos that tied it up right near the end of regulation, but they got into overtime. Couldn't get it going on the first drive. The defense comes up with yet another stop, and I know it's a much maligned defense, but I thought on several occasions they came up extremely huge in this game, and then the offense does enough to get the game-winning field goal. It's hard to put into words the way this team is able to just figure out how to win a game, whether they're shorthanded by 6 starters against Detroit, or in this game, 3 of their top 4 receivers, and the offense just has to chip and chip and chip until they can finally get some points on the board. The defense really wins this one for me, though, because they came up huge. That red zone stop in the first half set the tone, I thought, for this entire game for this team, and then they were able to build off.
And we'll be getting you the live press conferences of Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and several other players as soon as they come up to the podium at Soldier Field. I have them on a Zoom call here, so whenever they are at the podium, we will get them over to you. But you know, JD, we talked all game about the Saints stepping up, next man up, in the absence of wide receivers. It seems like not only Alvin Kamara did that, pretty much anyone who could catch the ball stepped up for the Saints team today.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is extremely valuable to this team, and you saw it in the receiving game, and then you saw it with a run at the end. He is invaluable to this team. But I thought Drew Brees really directed this offense. Didn't try to force anything, didn't try to overdo anything. Didn't get great production from the other receivers in this game, but he got a big catch from Jared Cook. He got a big catch from Taysom Hill. Those 2 guys came up with the Saints touchdowns. And I thought he just managed the game well. The offense didn't turn it over. I thought they did a really good job of sticking to what the plan was and not trying to force something. Just on this day, they knew what they had available, and they were able to utilize what they had available in order to win this game.
JD, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like the turn in momentum came at that 2-minute drill to end the first half when the Saints scored a touchdown going into halftime. Obviously, you know, the fight in the third quarter had a huge impact on the game as well. But let's talk first about that 2-minute drill that the Saints succeeded with at the beginning of at the end of the first half.
Well, Caroline, I tell you what, I think we take for granted how great Drew Brees is and the things that he does. And so you see him execute 2-minute drill after 2-minute drill, and you just assume that it's going to happen. It takes a lot of work, but I mean, the things that he's able to get this offense to do in the 2-minute drill have become really amazing over the years. You just expect them to be able to get points, whatever it is they need. They're able to put up a touchdown. And you mentioned it, it was huge because the team was floundering a little bit offensively. They were scuffling. They missed a short field goal. Will Lutz did a 27-yarder in that first half. And you felt like emotionally they might have been a little bit down, and then they give up a couple of big plays on defense, give up a touchdown. And so you wondered if they didn't score there, what was going to happen. But to get that touchdown at that moment had to be a huge psychological boost for this team because they needed to get something going offensively, and they did it in the best way.
Okay, and now let's talk about the fight, because I was ready to take off my Halloween earrings and go out to Soldier Field myself, even though I can't stand a chance. But obviously the fight between C.J. Gardner-Johnson and a member of the Bears team, that shifted some momentum for the Saints team, especially when Janoris Jenkins came in at his other safety's aid.
Well, number one, you didn't want any of that fight because Wentz came up and sucker punched him twice. So you don't want anybody to sneak you. But I thought Jack Rabbit came in, you know, at a good time. But look, C.D. Deuce, C.J. Gardner-Johnson can be an irritant. And he obviously irritated that young man to the point where he felt like he needed to do something that was really, really stupid, as it turns out, for the Bears, because it turned the game again for the Saints. The play after that penalty, Marshon Lattimore comes up with an interception. And that turns out to be huge because the Saints cash it in for a field goal. Of course, they would have liked a touchdown right there, but it's again maintaining your composure, even under dire circumstances. C.J. Gardner-Johnson could have gone back after Wims, could have fought back, and maybe you draw offsetting personal fouls, but instead he maintains his cool. Janoris Jenkins jumps in to say, to help out his teammate, and the guy who comes in after something like that, he's not going to get a penalty. So Jack Rabbit jumps in, Jack Rabbit hops in, and kind of helps out his teammate, and so it turns out to be huge for the Saints because the Bears lose their composure and essentially give away 3 points in that situation.
JD, I love a good pun. How about Cam Jordan, Trey Hendrickson stepping up big time, especially in overtime for the Saints? It seemed like Cam Jordan finally had his breakout moment. He was so close to Foles several times, but he finally got him when it mattered most. JD, I'm actually going to interrupt you because now we have Sean Payton live at the podium. Let's go to Sean.
You guys hear and see me?
Yes, you're good, Coach. Go ahead, you guys.
Gotcha. Sean, can you we can see much better now. Sean, can you talk about the decision at the end to not run more clock or not go for the touchdown, but to kick the field goal then?
Yeah, look, it just had my gut feeling where we were on the field. And, I feel like we can kick a field goal at that distance without risking any ball security issues. I felt real good about just being able to kick it. I recognize we could have brought the clock down and all those other things. And had there been a turnover, we'd have looked at that. So just my gut.
Hey, Sean, that was the third straight 3-point win by this team. What does it just say about this this group's toughness?
Well, listen, it was a hard-fought game. I think second half we played better football. In the kicking game, we changed field position like we know to. Defensively, good stops. And it's good when you win an overtime game like that. It's the second one, I think, this year. There's a little bit of grit and toughness, and that's something that you begin to build. I don't think you just start with it.
Sean, what was your assessment of the play that Demario Davis made? It looked like it could have been a fumble, but forward progress was obviously ruled. What did you see there?
Yeah, I'm on the other sideline, so we'll see the film.
Sean, how much
did they give you? Did they just?
The very same explanation you got, right? They whistled it down.
Sean, how much does being in these types of games over the years with this group having so much continuity help you in these situations?
Well, look, I think the experience at certain positions, the quarterback, the confidence that, hey, we're going to find a way, to make enough plays. I think it's part of that is through demonstrated ability.
Sean, how big was the 2-minute drill before half to kind of flip momentum there in the game?
Yeah, I thought it was significant, especially to come away with a touchdown.
Sean, did the referees say that you guys took the delay of game on purpose to set up where you wanted to kick? Is that what happened, or?
That's not what happened. The clock it got started slow because they were trying to get the K ball in, and so look, we weren't intending to move it back by any means. We just got a quick clock.
Sean, obviously, a heavy dose of runs in that first quarter in particular, and just in general, not a lot of downfield stuff. Was this just a real measured game plan? How much did the wind affect conditions today?
I think the conditions, honestly, were a little better than we expected. So, yeah, we went in with a way that we wanted to play the game, and then I feel like they were better than we expected. Did it affect some plays? There was a handful, but I think we anticipated it to be more significant.
And then with both with shorter play calls and then the big explosives that you had in this game, it was both a heavy dose of Kamara. He just keeps coming up big for you guys week after week. Do you keep being impressed by that?
Yeah, he played well. Look, both in the running game and the passing game, he had some big runs for us. It's a good front. It's a tough team to move the ball against, and the one thing we knew is how important just not turning over the football was against this team. And if you protect the ball, you have a chance, especially on the road. And we were able to do that.
Sean, the choice not to go for it on the 4th and 2 to the drive to start overtime, was that based on how your defense was playing in the second half?
That was based on a number of things. I think it was 4th and 3. We took a delay. We had gone earlier, and trust me, I spent some time on it. But yeah, I think we felt like we'd play a little bit more of a field position battle there, and paid off.
Sean, it looked like a few guys lost their footing and slipped a couple of times. Is that just a tough surface there?
It is. I think we had the right shoes on. I felt like the footing was okay, and we'll see the film. But it's one of there's about 2 or 3 of these fields in our league that you have to wear a different shoe on, and all of our guys had more of the screw-in cleats.
Hey, Sean, in a game like this where the wind is sometimes a factor, do you almost, as a play caller, call a different game from quarter to quarter with the wind to your space?
Absolutely. You want it to be a fast quarter, super fast quarter going into the wind, and you want to make it as long as possible when you have it. And there's certain plays that aren't up, for one quarter that go back up in the other quarter. And yeah, absolutely.
Sean, I know he missed that kick early in the game, but how much of a luxury is it to be able to count on a guy like Will Lutz in a game like this with the rough surface, with the windy conditions and all that?
Yeah, look, he's got enough moxie. He's made enough big kicks. He's got confidence in himself, and that's real important.
Sean, the ejection was a big moment. Did you try to figure out or tell everybody to make sure tempers didn't flare up after that, or is that a review tomorrow?
We just had to be smart and not allow that to dictate or have a part in the conclusion of the game and who wins or loses. And that just takes discipline. We got to continue to work on that. And fortunately, it didn't impact any of our players. All right, thank you.
Okay, we await some Saints players there at the podium in Soldier Field. We will get you over to that as soon as we can. Again, your Saints win 26-23 over the Bears in overtime. We were talking about defense before we went to Sean Payton. Obviously, Cam Jordan had a huge sack at the end of regulation, David Onyemata, as well as Trey Hendrickson. And now we're going to bring back in our very own John DeShazier, who's there braving the elements in Soldier Field in the cold Chicago weather. JD, we were talking about defense before we went over to Sean Payton. You were going to add something about the sacks from the Saints defense.
Yeah, I just thought they did a really good job, especially late of applying the pressure on Nick Foles when they needed to. They were able to get a couple of timely ones, whether it was David Onyemata or Trey Hendrickson or Cam Jordan. So, we've been waiting for that rush to get to Nick Foles in this game. They finally get to him late, and the Saints have shown themselves to be a clutch team. This is the third consecutive game that's come down to a kick for them, that they won it via a kick one way or the other, and the second out of the last 3 games that they've won in overtime. So, this is a team that doesn't really get fazed by the pressure.
I believe we are going to the podium now at Soldier Field with, I think it looks like Taysom Hill here. Can't see his face yet. There he is, Taysom Hill.
There you go.
All right, we have Taysom Hill. First question's from Larry Holder.
Taysom, how much does being in this situation for the past, I don't know, as long as you've been here, where you guys have won close games and rattled off wins, how much does that help you guys in this situation like today?
I mean, I think we have been in a lot of close games like this, and we've won a lot of close games. And so I think as we enter a game, particular at Chicago, it's cold, it's windy. We knew it was going to be a close game. And I would say that the leadership really shows through. Leadership of Drew. This guy's done this so many times. I'd say our leadership defensively with Cam, Demario, Malcolm, and those guys defensively that, we never thought that we would lose that game, and we just kept working at it.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Taysom, how big of a luxury is it to have a guy like Will Lutz in these conditions that aren't really great for kicking to go in there and make 3 out of 4 today in a tight game?
Yeah, I mean, Will is such a weapon. And I know, personally as a team that when he steps on the field, we know that we're going to get offensively. I know that if we get him close, he's going to put it through. And it's such a weapon and blessing to have.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Taysom, you've been playing, it seems like fewer snaps this year. Do you feel like you have to earn your snaps, or is it different for you getting into a rhythm when you're going in less and less?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some challenges, trying to get the feel of the game and get into a rhythm. But, it's something that I've been doing for the last several years. And so I think my mindset is, again, to do whatever I can to help this football team win games. And if I have the opportunity to get in and make a play, I'm doing my best to take advantage of it. And that mindset's never changed.
All right, Taysom, we're all set. Thank you.
Folks, we can go ahead and put stuff in for Alvin.
Okay. Malcolm Jenkins is on deck.
All right, we have Alvin Kamara. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you. First question's from Nick Underhill.
We talk to you all the time about how good you're playing. I mean, I'm just curious. Do you feel like you're playing the best football that you've played in your career right now?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll leave that up to everybody else to decide. I'm just playing. I'm just out there having fun, trying to get wins. Thankfully we pulled one out today in overtime.
Next one's from Larry Holder.
Alvin, how much did you guys anticipate this game kind of being this close, kind of knockdown, drag out type of game?
I mean, we knew what type of game it was going to be. We knew it was going to be a fight. We knew it was going to be back and forth. Just said it the whole week. The team with the most fights is going to come out with the win, and we were able to just keep clawing and keep scratching and just keep imposing our will, and we came out with the win.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Alvin, I think in the first 11 plays, you and Latavius touched it 9 times between you. Did you guys just kind of have a sense that just with all the receivers you guys were missing today, that it was going to be just kind of dependent on you guys to move the ball down the field?
No, I mean, I don't know if it's as much as that as it is just us welcoming the challenge. We wanted to run the ball. We want to run the ball every week. I mean, this week, it was a little emphasis on it. We were able to kind of what we had to do to keep the chains moving, and I mean, it looked good. It felt good. The O-line did a great job, and we did what we had to do.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Alvin, what were the conditions like? I know you all probably prepared for wind and cold all week. How much effect did it have on the game?
It was a little windy. It was cold, colder than we're used to. The temperature in the dome is pretty consistent, but ain't really had too much effect. I think it was like one or two balls maybe died out there, but overall I think we did what we wanted to do. With the plays that we had called, and it is what it is. You got to play in the element. It don't matter if it's cold, hot, windy, raining. It is what it is. We got to do what we got to do.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Alvin, Sean said he kind of tussled with the decision in overtime on the first drive when you guys had fourth and 2 or 3, whether or not to actually go for it there. What was kind of going through your mind when you know you got to eventually when you decided to punt it away? And how I guess how much faith did you have in your defense based on how they were playing in the second half in that moment?
Man, they were playing well. I had faith in our defense, but I think after every play, I just look at Sean and just check his demeanor. And I could tell he was kind of battling, like he was trying to think about if he wanted to go for it or punt it away. And then my eyes went to Drew, looking at Drew, and we made the right decision to go ahead and punt it away and do what we had to do and let the defense play. They came up big. They just stuck with it. They like I said earlier, just scratched and clawed, and we was able to do what we had to do. It was just huge. So it was a great team win. Look at the film, make sure we keep it moving.
Thanks, guys. We have Malcolm Jenkins coming up now, and then Will Lutz will follow him.
Thank you, Alvin. Good.
All right, we have Malcolm Jenkins. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you. First question's from Luke Johnson.
Malcolm, a lot of guys on the team have seen it before, but this is your first year here, so I'm just wondering what it's like to know that you got a guy like Will Lutz you can count on in those kind of clutch situations, especially in conditions like they were today.
I always like to think of kickers as good insurance, always there kind of when you need it. So, obviously this is a tight game on the road with some weather. So we knew that our kicking game was going to be huge in this game, and obviously that showed up at the end.
Next one's from Larry Holder.
Look, those last 4 years, the Saints have won a lot of these type of games, and I know this is your first year back and seeing all this. What do you make is like the key element to you guys really winning these grinded out type of games? And now you've won basically 4 of those almost in a row.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is faith in each other and in the team and the scheme. But I think Sean Payton did a great job of preparing us, for that mindset this week. We knew it was going to be a tough, grinded out type of game, against a really solid opponent, really good defense. So we knew coming into this it would be, low scoring, that it would be about field position and stops, And so when we got into those spaces, we weren't very surprised and were prepared for it. So I think, a lot of that has to do with coaching, and a lot of that has to do with faith in each other and being ready for that.
Next one's from Amy Just.
I don't know if you had a good angle on it, but what happened with Wims and CJ Gardner-Johnson, have you ever seen anything like that happen in a game before?
I didn't really get a chance to see it. I was on the opposite side of the field. So by the time I saw it, I just saw, kind of a skirmish and went to go break it up. But, some things happen. I didn't really get to see what exactly took place, but I know it's a passionate game played by passionate men. But obviously we want to keep it within the game. So we'll see what the film is. But I thought he did a good job of keeping his poise throughout the rest of the game and making sure it was about ball, all about ball.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
It seems like you guys are making, progress each week. There's some red zone stops this week, but what's it going to take to get the consistency to stop those explosive plays that seem to show up every week?
Well, I only think they might have had a couple here or there. I think when we look at it league-wide where we are with explosive plays, we're really not. We're in the top 5. So we're not giving up a ton every game. Obviously, when you're in tight games like this, sometimes they make plays. But the key is obviously getting stops in the red zone, and that's something that we're going to continue to improve on, continue to work on. But obviously, big plays, we don't want to give up any, but they happen. The other team gets paid too.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Hey, Malcolm, 2-parter if I could. What was your reaction to the Demario Davis fumble that then was called dead? And the second part, Sean decides to punt it away on that first drive in overtime. I feel like that shows a lot of faith in how the defense was playing in the second half. What do you feel like that does for y'all's defense in that moment?
Yeah, so for the first question, I thought, that was going to be a huge play in our favor. I thought it was a great job by Demario to get that ball out, but they said if forward progress was stopped, which means we can't challenge it. So that's a big call, obviously, when you talk about the result of the game. But in overtime, for Sean to allow us to get on the field and trust in us, I think, One shows how we were playing, and it was a tight game that he felt comfortable with. But at the end of the day, it's a team thing, and he understands that a team is going to win it, and that's offense, defense, kicking game. So it wasn't necessarily surprising.
Last one's from Luke Johnson.
Yeah, good question to close it off. What goes into the mindset of changing between heads and tails at the start of the time?
So I'm a bit of a rebel, so I always call heads, but I had a lot of voices on the sideline saying to call tails, so I had to go against my own better judgment and go with what the team wanted, and luckily it was tails.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Malcolm.
Yep.
We'll have Deonte Harris after Will. We can go ahead and fire away.
What's up, guys?
All right, Will. We have Will Lutz. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you. First one's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Will, I was just curious before the game what it was like just kind of getting used to the conditions out here. I know you kind of struggled here last year, so I assume that was like just understanding the conditions you were going to kind of be dealing with this year.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a reason this place is one of the hardest places to kick. The conditions were about as bad as we've been in, but at the end of the day, when my number is called, I'm expected to make. Obviously, I didn't get through scot-free this year either, but at the end of the day, it just felt good to get another shot. So, we're happy with the win.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Hey, Will, it seemed like potentially Sean was maybe chewing on the idea of running the clock down a little bit more just before that final kick. But I guess just what does it make you feel to have him have the faith in you, obviously, where it seems like anytime you guys get inside the 50, he kind of has that confidence you're going to be able to drill it.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I don't think he'd keep a kicker here with, the past with his decisions on kickers. So I think, his trust in me is the reason I've been here for the time that I have now. And, obviously, that's what I look for. Right. And, that just goes through the preparation throughout the week. So like I said, it just felt good to get another shot, and I'm glad he gave me the chance.
Next one's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Will. A, how many walk-offs is that for you in your career so far? And B, what's kind of going through your mind when you get that chance to kick the game winner?
Let's see. I think I've only had a couple of walk-offs. I had the Texans and the Panthers last year, and then this one. A lot of times we've had to kick off after the kick or another play. But what was the other question?
Just kind of what's going through your mind whenever it's that time to kick the game winner.
Yeah, gotcha. Look, obviously the whole overtime I was hoping for redemption. So, I felt like the whole game that we shouldn't have been in that position because I should have made the first one. And, the biggest thing for me is my operation had the confidence in me to go out there and make that, and the team had the confidence in me to make that kick. And, like I said, the only thing I could think of was redemption and, splitting the uprights on that last kick. And, your best kick's your last one. So just felt good to see it go through.
Next one's from Larry Holder.
Will, you didn't get rattled by not almost having the K ball because that was certainly a bizarre sequence there. That's not normally something that happens.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a cluster there at the end. I'm not really sure how the play got down to 0 on that, but I don't know. So very glad we didn't have to kick a QB ball because those are a lot different.
All right, last question's from Luke Johnson.
I just think,
Hey, Will, did you have to make any adjustments today just with the surface and the conditions? Like is there's something that you have to adjust to actually after getting on the field?
His clutch gene kicked in. The adjustment was Will Clutch came through in the end. All right, cool.
I don't
Appreciate
get
it.
much media time. Let me have a little. Well, the hardest part about playing in a stadium like Soldier Field or up in Green Bay or Philly, which we have coming later, is you cannot make those conditions throughout the week in New Orleans, Louisiana. So, it was kind of crazy. It was the coldest week of the year, and it was windy in New Orleans this week, so that helped. But that's the point of pregame. We get our work in the pregame, and when the wind swirls like it does here, there's not much you can do except trust your ball flight. And so, At the end of the day, I think, our unit, we discussed at the end of warm up and said, hey, we just got to trust ourselves that, our A ball is going to go through the uprights. And fortunately, for the most part, it did tonight. And, we'll go back to work and move on to the next week.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, Deonte Harris, we can go ahead and put questions in the chat.
What up?
All right, we have Deonte Harris. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you.
I got a stain on my hoodie. Nobody tell me.
First question's from Amy Just.
You got really close today to breaking a couple off. Just how good was that to give your offense a favorable field position?
No offense wants to drive the length of the field every drive. So, that's why they brought me in the flip field position and try to, give our offense short field. So, they took one from us last year, so I was trying to definitely get one to make up for it. But, I just try to help the offense whatever way I can.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Deonte, what was the kind of mindset with the guys this week? Just not only missing Mike and Emmanuel, but also Marquez, who had a big game last week. What were you guys kind of thinking coming into this?
It's crazy, but at the end of the day, that's the business we're in. Obviously, we want our brothers to come back, and we want the team to be healthy as can be. But we got to have that mentality, next man up. So. You just got to make plays when your number is called. But like I said, hopefully we can get our guys back as soon as possible.
We're all set. Thanks, Deonte.
I'm sliding. Don't you do it.
All right, Cam Jordan here. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you. First one's from Luke Johnson.
Yeah, Cam, I just want to hear more about Will Clutch.
That's just what I call him. There's some other nicknames out for the team, but this one's more kid appropriate in terms of who he is. He comes up when we need him big, just like he did this game.
Next one's from Larry Holder.
Kim, you guys have played so many tight games and keeping win streaks alive. And what is the key to maintaining confidence in situations that could seem dire to other teams?
Knowing that we've been in these close games and we've came out on top. What you just said is the key. Confidence of knowing that we have the tight-knit group in our locker room to overcome, deficits, to overcome overtimes, to go into any situation and know that we can pull out a win. Even if we're in an unfamiliar environment, such as the Chicago Bears stadium with no hot tub before the game.
Next one's from Amy Just.
How hard is it to watch Sheldon go down and have him, not be available for the rest of the game, just knowing how hard he's had to work to get back?
Honestly, it hurts. To think about, what Sheldon has done, what he's overcome. I'm not sure, the circumstances on that, so I can't speak on it until I know exactly understand what happened to him. But, looking over and not seeing my dog, he's become like a little brother to me. So, it hurts. But at the same time, we have guys that stepped up and played well late and ended up getting a sack. And I know, I know that's probably going to be compounding because it's like you get hurt and then you see David Onyemata, you see, myself, you see Trey all get up sacks late in the game, and it was just a sack party. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Cam, what was the week like dealing with the hurricane? People losing power on the team. I'm sure it affected preparation. Guys probably having to stay at the facility longer. What was it like mindset-wise, and then having to go and play a tough road game?
Whatever it was, it's just a small, like a sliver of what people in Louisiana have been feeling. Hurricane season has been sort of tough this year with Delta, Laura, now Zeta. It's just, as much as I like to say, I'm sure our teammates lost some power, but we still have, we're still in a good place where we can come to work. We can still practice. We can still have power. There's, guys, I have friends over in the West Bank that didn't have power for days. I've got, friends out in Slidell that didn't have power for days at a time. And these are, people that weren't able to go to, our Saints facility and have the power that we did, or have the meals provided like we did. So it's really just shout out to all the Louisiana folks who are still getting through, still trying to recover from the likes of Hurricane Laura and Delta and now Zeta. To those affected, keep on being strong, keep on staying safe, and we're going to push through together.
We're all set. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah.
Demario Davis will be next, folks. Then Drew Brees.
All right, we have Demario Davis. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you. First one's from Sean Payton.
Hey, Demario, just the play where it looked like you forced a fumble and it was the forward progress was ruled stop. What happened on that play, and just kind of describe what you saw, and were you surprised it was over, or it was ruled that?
Yeah, we have a play like that happens in a clutch moment, or it's a chance to win a game. You really wish they'd get that call right. I mean, it was a play where I was just in time to potentially get a breakup. Once I realized he caught it, I was just going for another swing at it, and got a good jab on the ball, and the ball came out. Actually, as I went down on top of the tight end, I was telling them that's game. I knew one of my teammates would recover it, or I was going to recover it. And when we got it, you're just thinking the game's over. I didn't feel like that was a huge and it wasn't. They ruled forward progress or whatever. So, managing the situations. You just gotta. We kept swinging as a team. Though it was unfortunate, you would have hoped we would have got that call at the end of the game a lot sooner. But we kept swinging as a team. So just proud of the team in the way that we were able to handle that little bit of adversity.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Mario, what would you think about Sean's decision to have faith in you guys in overtime? He, punts it away on 4th and 2 or 3, that first offensive series, kind of turns it over to you guys to have the game in your hands, knowing that the next teams to score wins.
That's one of the great things about Sean as a coach and why he's one of the best. I mean, he's just a great game manager. He always understands, the situations, understands the teams that we're going against, always knows what kind of game it's going to be. He kind of talked about it, going in, that it was going to be a game where it was going to be a scratch card fight type of game. We weren't going to be able to try to go for a lot of big plays just because of the conditions. So we knew as a defense we were going to have to step up. And so it was just a way of us playing complementary football. We knew we had to do our part on the defense and stand tall. We knew even if they moved the ball, we had to force field goals. And, when he put it on us, we looking for those moments anyways.
We're all set. Thank you, Demario.
Thank you guys. Be blessed.
We've kind of just been, Folks, we can go ahead and put questions in the chat for Drew Brees. He'll be in momentarily.
You might have heard on the stream, Drew Brees will be at the podium momentarily. I believe he is wrapping up another interview. But JD, Malcolm Jenkins said your famous quote, the other team gets paid too, when he was talking about the big plays, the big chunk plays, which was actually one of your keys of the game heading into tonight's game, or this afternoon's game against the Bears, it feels like tonight. But how does this Saints team try to reduce the big chunk plays that they've given up time and time again?
Well, I don't even necessarily know if it was a communication issue today. Sometimes the other guy just beats you. And I think they got beat on a couple of plays, one by Darnell Mooney, a 50-yarder, and then a 24-yard touchdown by Allen Robinson the second. Sometimes the other guy just gets the best of you. And those I think you can live with. It's when you have the communication issues where you had the bus where guys are running wide open for 50, 60 yards. Those are the ones that are difficult. But when a guy just beats a guy, you feel like you can correct that a lot more quickly And I think the Saints did that as this game progressed. You didn't see them get beat that way in other instances. So those are the correctable ones when a guy just gets the best of you, because the Saints have good cornerbacks. I think Jack Rabbit Jenkins and Marshon Lattimore are good cornerbacks. And I think if you put them in those situations enough times, they're going to win their share of one-on-one battles. Unfortunately, they were on the short end of those two plays in this game, but I thought both of them came back strong.
We heard a little bit of it in the post-game interviews, but how much does knowing how to win, and actually we're going to go to Marshon Lattimore there at the podium in Soldier Field.
Listen, we got to work it out for us.
All right, Marshon Lattimore, if you have a question, put it in the chat and I'll call on you.
There and just play our best game. All right, Mike, thanks.
First one's from Larry Holder.
Marshon, you've played so many of these close games and piling up winning streaks over these last few years. What are the key elements you feel like you guys are able to do, whether it's defensively, offensively, special teams? What are the key elements you feel like you as a team are able to do to win these games way more than you lose them?
We just lock in. We know we got the best quarterback, and for us as a defense, we got to hold them. We got to make a play for the offense, and that's what we try to go out there and do. We try to put them in the best position to win. That's it, man. We lock in, and now we definitely win more than we lose when it comes to that. We just try to be clutch and just try to do what we have to do to win.
Next one's from Stacey Dales.
Marshon, congratulations on the win. What was your reaction to the Javon Wims incident and sort of rescuing your teammate, if you will, in that moment? Take us through that process.
Who what's his name?
Javon Wims, the receiver for the Bears.
I mean,
when he punched your teammate.
I made the tackle, so I was on the other side of the field. I didn't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what was going on, honestly. But I seen the replay, and if I was over there, I definitely, we definitely would have helped him. That definitely wouldn't have went on if we were standing right there at all. But I was on the other side of the field, and I didn't really see it. So
right, what was your reaction to the incident, and how sort of you guys as a team were galvanized by it?
We had to turn up for him. Cause that was a dirty play, and we don't play that. We grown men, and we don't go for none of that. So we had to show him, we had to step up. And I told him, we all told him, like, we got you. Just be calm, we got you. We made plays.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Marshon, what happened on your interception and the one that you lost? Did that end up kind of being a blessing in disguise since it was fourth down?
Last one, folks.
Well, I just knew, the play earlier, he ran a slant from that same look. And I called it out. So when I did, I seen the quarterback switch it. So I just kind of figured it would be a slant and go. So that's what I played. And he threw it right to me. I had to. Now, the other one, I can't believe I dropped it. I couldn't believe it. But, it was the best. It ended up being the best play for us, as a team. So, it is what it is. We got the win. So I'm happy about that.
We're all set. Thanks, Marshon.
All right, we can go ahead and put questions in the chat for Brees.
All right, guys.
All right, we have Drew Brees. First question's from Andrew Doak.
Hey, Drew, two-parter. First, I just kind of noticed the tape on your right shoulder. Has that been something you've been doing all season? And then the second part, that 4th and 2 in overtime, were you kind of pleading with Sean to keep you guys on the field, or were you okay with punting it away?
No, listen, the 4th and 2 in overtime, I felt like the wise thing to do was punt it. Don't give them a short field with the wind. Punt them down in. I felt like our defense was really playing good, and would stop them, and then we'd get the ball back, and then we'd go down and kick a field goal, win the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Next one's from Larry Holder.
Drew, you guys have won so many of these types of games over the last 4 years for sure. What are the key elements to win these type of games? What, offensively, defensively, special teams, what are the key elements for you guys to maintain so many wins in these scenarios?
First off, it's just belief. It's belief that put ourselves in a position to win the game and we'll win it. And, it takes everyone. It takes, obviously, defense coming up with a big stop, offense put us in field goal range, and then special teams, kicking it through and winning the game. But, when you look at just the larger scope of an entire game, it's always ebb and flow. There's back and forth. Those momentum changes. I mean, listen, we knew this was going to be a battle coming up here. Playing Chicago on the road, tough conditions. Them coming off a tough loss on Monday Night Football. So we knew they were going to be ready to play. We knew it was going to be a tough physical game. It was every bit of that. And you just find a way. We got down by 10 points, I think, early. But just continue to stay the course and stay with the process, and the outcomes will come as a result.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Drew, we talked to you earlier in the week about the hurricane. What was it like for the whole team this week? I know you had some teammates that probably lost power, were having to go down to a hotel. How much did it affect preparation and your all's mindset going into this?
Yeah, I mean, we all lost power. Everybody did, the whole city. In fact, in driving to work early in the morning at right there in the Zephyr parking lot, seeing trucks as far as the eye could see, all the telephone pole trucks, and it seemed like guys coming from around the state, to help, get the power lines back up and going, get trees, off the power lines, get things picked up, get things redone so that everybody could get their power back. Obviously it's a tough deal when you got the entire city that's affected like that. But God bless those men and women. And I think for us, I mean, listen, it definitely, you have to make some adjustments in regards to preparation. And I know even with our facility, there's certain areas that don't have power, so and then you got COVID to throw in that as well. And so, just kind of that balance of continuing to still prepare and get ready to come win a football game is, certainly plenty of challenges there.
Next one's from Chris Hagan.
Coach Payton mentioned that the conditions were better than you guys expected. Did you guys become more comfortable with them as the game went along?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the wind is going to be a factor. Initially they were saying 20-mile-an-hour winds consistently and 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So with those projections, you obviously kind of have to have a plan for how you're going to play the game, just depending on which side of the wind you're on. I think it wasn't quite that bad, but there were definitely times where you're making decisions based on how the wind's blowing. And really the tough decision became in overtime where, hey, do we take the wind or do we take the ball? We ended up taking the ball, just knowing that obviously we got a kicker with a strong leg, and we'd like to have first opportunity to get down there and kick a field goal or score a touchdown to win the game. That goes back to that 4th and 2 question where, hey, we're sitting there at midfield. Let's not give them a short field. Let's punt them down in, let our defense do their job. We'll get it back. We'll march to field goal range, kick the game winner, and that's exactly what happened.
Next one's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Drew, I'm reading a stat here. For the last 5 games, you've closed out the half with a touchdown drive. I'm just curious, what does that do for a team momentum-wise going into the locker room when you finish out the half with a touchdown?
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. You almost view it as stealing a possession, especially when you don't give the other team an opportunity to come on the field and get an answer. Does a lot for momentum. Certainly in a situation like today where, we had a good first drive, go down and get a field goal, but then they score 13 unanswered points. We really needed some points, something good to happen there prior to the half. So just great all-around execution by everyone to get that done.
Next one's from Stacey Dales.
Drew, congratulations on the win. You just defeated a Bears defense without, I think, 3 of your top receivers, your best receivers outside of Kamara. What confidence do you draw from that? And through 8 games or, midpoint of the season, where are you mentally in terms of the rhythm with this offense, in terms of where you feel you guys are at right now?
Listen, I'm so proud of our team. I'm proud of all those young guys that have had to step up. I think the last 2 games, I think 4 out of our 5 receivers have been undrafted free agents. Practice squad, just, I mean, team effort. And guys just fulfilling, their role and what they're asked to do. And just everybody doing their job. And that's what the great teams do. You find a way to win. You know it's never going to be easy. There are always going to be 4-quarter battles or even overtime battles. I guess 2 of our last 3 have been overtime. But at the end of the day, you just want a chance to win. And everybody do their job, and that's what's been able to happen here.
Thanks.
Last one's from Nick Underhill.
Drew, what's it kind of do for a team's identity when you do keep winning these ugly games? Like, can that pay off later in the season just to know that you can fight your way through these consistently?
Absolutely. Battle tested. That's what it is. Battle tested. No matter what situation we find ourselves in, we're going to be able to draw on a lot of these other moments where we had to find a way to win. And it was probably a combination of every phase. But, man, defense knows when they need to step up and make a play. Offensively, we know when we need to step up and make a play. Special teams the same way. And, we do it all together, and that's called complementary football. That's what we're trying to be all about.
We're all set. Thanks, Drew.
Okay, JD, I think that was the entire Saints roster that we just heard from there on the live stream. Any final thoughts before we let you go and bundle up and come back home to your power-filled house, JD?
Well, I think the Saints have shown that resiliency in the 4-game winning streak. They figured out different ways to win, and that's always commendable for a team. That shows a lot of backbone for a team. I got power back on at my house on the West Bank, and as Ice Cube would say, today was a good day.
All right, JD, bundle up, come home. We look forward to seeing you. All right, for all of us here on the New Orleans Saints postgame show, we appreciate you tuning in from all of the players. A sweet victory. I know it was hard fought, but a good win for the Saints in overtime over the Bears, 26-23 in overtime. Another hard fought battle next week as they will face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, for Caroline Gonzalez, our entire production crew, thanks for joining us, and we'll tune in next week. We'll leave you with some highlights.
And he doesn't want to see any of that here this afternoon. Doesn't matter. Kamara gets a first down and more. Alvin Kamara inside the 25 to the 21. 2nd down and 8. Brees fires. That's Kamara, middle of the field, and off he goes. Alvin Kamara brought down by Jackson. And zone. Cook has got it this time. From the 21 now. Foles is going to be picked. Intercepted by Lattimore. This one is Taysom Hill for the touchdown. Remaining in a 35-yard drive. Good snap, good hold. Ball game. Saints win it in overtime, 26-23.